All right, here's the steps for the Pixlr edit that you're going to do using levels. And the first thing you want to do, go to Classroom, click on the assignment, and here's the image. You can open it either this way, or you click on the image, and you can go here, open a new window, and then click on Download. If that does not work for you, and I think for some of you it won't, there's also a link on there. So click on that, and then really you can just click on it once, go to the download button, and you can either drag this to your desktop or save image as, I'll just call this Yosemite, downloads, save. And that will download that. Now I can go to Pixlr, and I'm going to go to the advanced Pixlr. I'm going to go to Open Image, find my downloaded image in the Downloads folder, and then open. And then for this edit, we went over a few things. Number one, your crop. You always want to crop your image if you want to fix the composition or get rid of any unwanted elements. This is actually kind of pretty close to what I want. I will say if you are cropping any image, you do want to look at your constraints and specifically the ratio. And generally, I think you want to stick to the presets. So you can stick to original, and that will keep that in its original ratio. You could do square if you want it to be square. And then you have these other ones. But really, you want to stick to original, square, maybe the 4:3. Kind of the top section is generally the most commonly used ratios. So I would stick to these. I'm going to stick to original. And I think actually I kind of like this right now. It's this top line here is kind of close to that top line on the rule of thirds. So I don't actually have to crop this. So we'll leave that as is. And I'm going to go to adjustments. And the one thing that we looked at was, well, we looked at two things. Number one, first thing we did was to make it black and white. And so to quickly do that, you can click on desaturate, and that will do a quick black and white, kind of just get rid of the color. Now, I'm going to undo that just to kind of summarize. Remember last time we went over hue and saturation is your color intensity. So you can also make it black and white this way and just desaturate it. This is just kind of a shortcut, a one-click version of that, and you have a black and white photo. Now, you don't necessarily want to leave it like this because you want to look at your image and see what you can do to make it stronger. So what we did also, we went to Filter, and we went to Details, and I think we went to Sharpen. And what this is going to do, it's going to find sort of the edges, the details. It's going to bump those up a little bit. So you can sort of see that in the rock face. Kind of bring those out a bit. See that in the trees a little bit too. You don't want to do too much because then it starts to look not quite so natural. So I'm just going to do it a little bit. Again, that's the original, a little blurrier, a little more clear on the details. After the sharpen, I'll hit apply. And then the next thing we did was go to the levels. So again, adjustment, levels, and you get this graph here. And this is called a histogram. And what this is showing you is your value levels in the photo. So you have your dark levels on the left, you have your middle values in the middle, and then you have your whites and your highlights over here. So what this will allow you to do, if you push the dark values to the right, what you're doing is you're turning more of those dark values even darker. So anything close to black is going to get closer, even closer to black, giving you a little more contrast, right? Now you don't want to do it too much where you just start to lose, definition in the image. You still want that texture in the trees. You can also kind of balance that out with your middle levels. So you can find the right balance between your mids and your darks. I kind of want this to contrast quite a bit with the white values inside that rock. But I don't want to lose these trees here. So I'm just kind of looking and deciding what balance I want. And then at the end, I'm going to take my lighter values. I can push them even lighter just to make sure that I have enough of those brighter white areas. And now you have this kind of way more dramatic range where you have whites here in the rocks and you have your blacks here in those shadows, as opposed to what you started with, which is all kind of more in the middle, kind of more gray. And so you can see what we did was we pushed these values in closer together, making this just more dramatic of a contrast to the image. So whenever you're doing black and white, you always want to look at your range of values, and you want to make sure that you're giving this kind of dramatic range from that dark to the light. I'm going to hit apply. That's really all we did. And just to show you what we started with, our color version, original, our black and white. I'm going to save that. I'm going to max out that quality and download it. And then you're going to upload that new file to Classroom.